Welcome to Top Shelf Men. I'm Reese. Today we're going to be talking about why the West is declining due to women. So I saw this article that it very much illustrates this point. And before we start the article, I'm going to make the point that whether a woman calls herself conservative, whether she calls herself a TradCon, whether they call themselves liberal, all women have the fault that they are wired to have the propensity to have magical thinking and to act on the world based on how things make them feel instead of just a simple reality. That's why you'll hear women constantly saying, girl, your truth, because to women, the truth changes as how they feel. That's why there is no truth, and that's why they also say everything with I feel instead of I think. If you're a man, you say I think because, again, whether you like it or not, reality is what it is. But on the other hand, women feel because, well, based on their feelings, this is what their reality right now. So let's take a look at the article. The article is titled, Hell Hath No Fury Like a Single Liberal Woman. I know because I was one. Last month, conservative news host Jessie Kelly told Megyn Kelly on her podcast that the mentally ill single woman is the beating heart of the Democrat Party. And that is true. They all vote for these liberal policies that make them feel good, make them feel virtuous because they're helping people without doing anything with other people's money that they haven't earned. He proclaimed over 70% of single women vote Democrat. Furthermore, he declared that studies show that 60% of those women had been diagnosed with some sort of mental illness. And again, we've all come across the blue-haired feminists, and you can tell there is definitely something wrong with them. They do not live in reality, and they have an extreme outrage because their leftism is their religion. It is their makes them feel moral, makes them feel good, even though they know they are terrible people deep down inside. Kelly, the man, joked that everyone knows a woman with her eyes half bugged out of her skull. ... She ruins Thanksgiving every time bragging about her 15th abortion. While Kelly's exaggerations made me laugh, I simultaneously thought to myself, oh crap, he's talking about me, or at least who I used to be. And while I've not had 15 or even one abortion, thank the Lord, I have been known to ruin a perfectly fine family event. So here, the writer of this article for The Federalist, which is a right-leaning conservative news outlet, is saying that she did have her own stage where she was a raging leftist. So let's read on and see what it was about. Failures of a girl boss goddess wannabe. I spent over 2 decades trapped in leftist culture, mostly in Los Angeles, racking up plenty of cringeworthy moments, some still on public display, probably on the internet. Forever memorialized on the internet, yep. Progressive single women tend to overshare, and this is why these young women, the ones that are doing OnlyFans, most of them are not going to make it. Same thing with YouTube. I mean, again, you know, it's taken a lot of work to grow this channel to this point, but who knows? Will I get big? Who knows? But at the end of the day, I'm not posting my nudes online showing my butthole, and these women that are doing that are, and it's going to follow them forever because, once again, the internet is forever. In the circles I ran, there was a lot of talk about being a goddess. Usually in my day, when you called someone a goddess, meant they were an overweight woman. And they called themselves goddesses because I guess they were as big as the earth. We spiritually minded gals were never single through any fault of our own. Accountability and women don't mix like oil and water. But because men don't appreciate evolved women who have done the work to be conscientious, to be in a conscientious relationship. Of course, being dateless had nothing to do with the fact that such work lends itself to extreme narcissism and an air of arrogance. Humility is not exactly a defining characteristic of the left. Okay, so here she admits that, again, it's due to extreme arrogance and narcissism that makes these leftists behave the way they do with such righteousness for how wrong they are. I became convinced that career success would be as fulfilling, if not more so, than being in a relationship or becoming a mother. And again, all these women are brainwashed to become the terrible versions of men. Oh, you have to be focused on your job. Oh, you have to climb a career ladder. Oh, be promiscuous. But again, women are not men, so they end up being terrible versions of. The same way that when men try to be women, they end up being cartoon versions of women. Same thing when women try to be men. Achieving independent boss lady status would be my crowning achievement. A newsflash, it has not been. Frankly, it's difficult managing life and all its challenges alone, particularly financially. And here's kind of a dirty little secret between words when she says particularly financial. Women spend more money than men. Women waste so much more money than men. Decades ago, when I used to work at Macy's, when we were having orientation as new employees, they actually did tell us everything in this store is catered to women 2-to-1. There's always double the bathrooms, double the floors, always double the accommodations for females, because females are our best customers. Females will come in, they'll buy clothes compulsively, they keep things busy. So males, not as much. Males will just come in, buy what they need, and leave. So males are not as profit generators for, well, Macy's department store, but if you think about it, shopping in general. That's why most things in shopping are catered towards women. And that's why, again, women find it very hard to be financially stable on their own. All right, let's read on. The left gives single women like me a lot of rationale to feel better about themselves and the poor choices they've made. The message was that sex without commitment is empowering, being a slut, despite the very real possibility of leading to dreadful outcomes, including sexual abuse. No, actually, I think the most dreadful outcome is being pregnant with an unwanted child from Chad or Tyrone, who basically is off to bang the next chick when, you know, the girl's stuck pregnant. While being overpowered by a man is never a consequence any woman deserves, women should always be willing to cast a critical eye towards their own behavior. They don't. It probably was not the wisest thing for me to dress like a hooker, get drunk, and vow revenge on my ex back in college. My bad. Again, accountability and women don't mix. But victimhood is the necessary tool of the left, while womanhood is not as high on the victim hierarchy as it once was, because they have the Oppression Olympics and the list keeps getting bigger, particularly at a time when many seem to find it difficult to define what a woman is, or a transformer. It can still be used to effectively cry foul against the evil patriarchy. Again, when things go great your way, you're strong and empowered. When things don't go your way, cry and say that it's the patriarchy. Typical leftist crap, right? Leftist policies make it easy for women to avoid the consequences of bad behavior that would normally serve as course correctors, and progressive ideology must always deflect blame. Messy drunk sex? No problem. The pill or an abortion will solve that. Just ask Olivia Rodrigo, whoever that is. Overweight because you don't take care of your body or your health? Of course, that's society's fault for pushing an unrealistic standard of beauty, because you want to be a fat whale and it's easy to just stuff your face. While men have to work out, it's freaking hard to like stay in shape and be cut as a man. And who cares, because, well, Ozempic, right, Oprah? Not earning enough money to gallivant the globe like a paid influencer? Clearly, that's the patriarchy at work. Or you need to sell your body to some sheik in some oil-producing country and have terrible things done to you in secret while you're taking trips to Dubai, right? But of course, there are consequences. It is the depression, unfulfillment, loneliness, and yes, sometimes mental instability that often comes with living a focused solely on yourself and casting off any sense of responsibility. All right. Under the righteousness is pain and disappointment. I earnestly tried to understand why I ended up dating the 5th jackass in a month, but I kept looking to the wrong people for help. Okay, so here's where we're going to get into the article, into the part of magical thinking, which is great. I did all the things the experts, therapists, or worst of all, life coaches told me to do to find success in dating or a relationship with no success. I'll never forget the day my so-called shaman, she had like an Indian shaman, like a Native American shaman, and the shaman told me that if I were ready for a relationship I wanted, then he, meaning a partner, would be here by now. implying that I needed to embark on more psychedelic sessions that, of course, lined his pockets and emptied mine. I'll let you guess which one of us drove around in a Porsche Cayenne. This goes into the meat of this topic. Women love magical thinking because it absolves them of accountability. Deep down in their souls, they know that what they're doing is terrible. They know that they are terrible people. That's why I have a theory that the more terrible the girl, the more she covers herself in tattoos. And again, like now she's talking about experts, therapists, and life coaches, and a shaman. Again, all this is magical spiritual thinking because deep down, to avoid any kind of judgment or responsibility for their terrible actions. And somehow talking about that she needed to embark on more psychedelic sessions, so she was doing drugs to make herself a better person. Like, just think about this logically. None of this freaking makes sense, but you have to understand that even though not every woman will verbally talk about this, all women are wired for it. They're all wired for this magical thinking. Let's all get along. Let's all dance and sing around in sunshine. They're all wired for this. This and also defective, beta males, because they have more, they have more estrogen than testosterone in their blood. And okay, well, all right, let's read on. But remember, regardless as to whether a woman calls herself, this woman is now technically a conservative. She's writing for a conservative news outlet, but you have to understand that this was inside her, and it's still inside her, as we'll read on. More often than not, these so-called professionals have never sustained a healthy relationship themselves. And I also talk about this in the Red Pill Grifters video, which you can check out over here. I'll put a card for it right over here. A lot of these people that give life coaching, give life lessons, they will tell you to do things that they have not done themselves, which again is pretty funny. But let's go on. It's like going to a gambler for financial advice. Better to go to the married woman down the street to get real lowdown on marriage rather than the people who have no clue what it means to sacrifice your own desires for the good of another. This is another thing why you have all these TradCons giving advice. Oh, I'm an expert in marriage because I've been married for 10 years to this one woman, and oh, by the way, she's also my first girlfriend. So that's all the experience they have, but yet they're pros on telling you what you're doing wrong. All right. Here we go. I've now found that a cocktail or glass of wine with my girlfriends, along with church, because now she's a TradCon, is better and cheaper therapy than any relationship coach I've ever sought out. And this is the issue with TradCons. And again, like, there's no such thing. The danger with all this self-care is that women think they are healing when actually they are morphing into, if not a mentally ill, as Kelly points out, then a highly unstable person, becoming more obstinate in their worldview and convinced of their righteousness. Underneath that righteousness is a lot of pain and disappointment ready to explode at the slightest microaggression or innocent male who attempts to flirt. Now, mind you, this is allegedly a conservative lady writing for the Federalist, a conservative outlet, but you notice that she's not using the words microaggression, healing, and all these things ironically, even though she now calls herself a conservative because she grew out of her leftist phase, she still has this magical thinking programmed into her. Again, it's hardwired into women. For all the talk of female empowerment, progressive women are actually fragile and quite afraid of being labeled as unkind or lacking in empathy. So they rarely question the narrative they've been fed. The result is the hypocrisy of the left is so well known for a caring and compassionate veneer with a heart full of judgment and anger. Indeed, hell hath no fury like a single liberal woman. And again, this is a clue. This is why women having so much voting power, why women being catered to in society, a society that caters women falls apart, because all they care about is looking like they want to just look like good people when they know they're not. And then when they're left to their own devices, oh, I'm going to take more drugs to be a better person. I'm going to, because my life coach or my shaman said so. Again, the contradictions in these women is freaking insane. And then after they've been through 30, 40, 50 bodies, done a lot of stupid crap. Oh, now I'm a conservative. Now I'm a worn out hole with the Bible, like the meme goes. All right. All right. Well, let's see what she says for the next part. I'd like to state for the record that not all single liberal women are like this. I have several friends who are very steady and in long-term relationships or marriages and still consider themselves left of center, leftist. However, I'd like to point out to them how, despite their fairly progressive views, mind you, she's saying slightly left of center, right? But now they're fairly progressive, so she's contradicting herself in the next sentence. This is how full of BS these women are. They live a rather conservative, if maybe unconventional life. So what? They're not like, they're not like openly cheating on their boyfriends. Like, it's just, all right. They are liberal in the old school sort of way, not the crazy hair on fire, you might be any gender you want kind of way. So in her mind, you could still be promiscuous, you could still be polyamorous, you could still be doing all this dumb leftist crap, but as long as you're not a transformer, you are a liberal in an old school sort of way, as long as you're not a transformer or believe in the Transformers. All right. However, this was not the kind of liberal I was. I was insufferable and immature. I was exactly the kind of woman Kelly described. I've grieved over my past mistakes and missteps and asked for forgiveness to a higher power, right? In some cases from particular people, but mostly from God. Here we go into more of the magical thinking crap. Because of His grace, I have changed. I am a happier, more peaceful, genuinely confident woman. I'm filled with gratitude that God turned me in the right, pun intended, direction. I'm just sorry I didn't do it sooner. I pray other women don't fall into the same progressive pitfalls I did, but it's never too late to choose a life of sanity. Such were some of you. And then it gives a little bit about the author. But, all right, let's talk about this. This is why Western societies are declining due to women, particularly women in power, women having authority, everything is gynocentric, and you have all these beta simps kissing their ass because, again, women, no woman will touch my pee-pee, and if I kiss enough woman's ass, I'll find one that will. Well, however that logic works. But you see, again, this is somebody writing for a conservative outlet who went through her leftist whole phase, and now she's a reformed, she believes in God, she is a right woman. No pun intended, right? But with the way that she talks, with the way that she expresses herself, you can still see that the magical thinking, the refusal to be accountable for their bad actions, they just don't want to be accountable for them. It's all still there. The only thing that I can guess is that she hit the wall. And because she hit the wall, she noticed that, well, the hot guys don't want to commit to me anymore, so I can't party around. And then they turn to God. God's going to make her right. God's going to make her a woman. Oh, and now I'm a traditional woman, so now I'm a conservative. And this is the cycle that a lot of these TradCons go through. Especially, look at all these conservative female influencers. If you dig into their past, they have divorces, they have, high body counts, and now they're empowered boss women who are like, oh, why can't no man, why no man wants to put a ring on it, but I'm a good woman now, I'm conservative and I love God. And this is why, whether a woman calls herself conservative, whether she calls herself a TradCon, a woman of God now, just look a little bit into her past and you'll see that all women are wired this way. And that way is to have a magical thinking where they will grab on to whatever's convenient to make them feel good, virtuous, right, while being convenient to what they need or want at the moment. And when you base all of Western civilization around women's feelings, that's why it is in decline. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think about women's magical thinking and the unwieldy, scary power that they possess in Western societies. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe, and all the other good things to help the channel grow. As this channel grows, I really want to build a community of men who help and support each other through the good times, through the bad times, give each other advice, give each other business ideas, so that we can help each other grow as men. All right, this is Reese. See you next video, guys. Peace.